You clicked on this video for one reason, and I don't blame you at all. You have been scrolling for hours looking for a Roblox horror game to play with your friends, but not just any type of horror game on Roblox, the very best ones. The ones that will scare you and your friends late at night when you find yourselves screaming while your heartbeats are going through the roof, and eventually you might get nightmares when you sleep, but I'm here to provide that all for you. You might be thinking you're too old for Roblox and there is no way that it can be this scary. I can imagine you probably play work at a pizza place or natural disaster survival and haven't dove into the depths of true horror, and I'm here to change your mind. Before we get started, I'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribed, as it would really help my channel grow and for me to continue providing the best Roblox horror games for you and your friends to make memories. To start us off, at number 6, we have the Butchery. The game starts you off by driving in your car late at night and find a mutated pig with arms that have been replaced with its legs. Don't ask me why, but this should have been your first warning to turn around. I mean, you could have just ran over the animal and the game would have been over in seconds. But now you've been kidnapped by two brothers, both with very strange personalities, and escaping this household on your own will be difficult without working together, so make sure to grab some smart friends with you. The puzzles are very unique, unlike some horror games that have you constantly running through mazes all day. The Mimic. Now, you might have noticed that this game is very similar to that of Resident Evil 7. The items are identical, the story of you being kidnapped by the crazy family, the whole aesthetic of the game is heavily inspired for that scare factor that you might be looking for. And trust me when I say this, you will not be disappointed when you give this game a try, because you will find yourself in more trouble than you anticipated, so be ready. And at number 5, the GOAT itself, we have Chain, the most gory Roblox horror game. In chapter 1, you are seen being kidnapped. I don't know why horror games like the character being kidnapped, it's actually kind of funny. But your abductors are soon interrupted and you wake up to a gruesome scene, finding out that whoever did this was not playing around. You find out that information for yourself and confirmed it's a man very similar to Jason. He wears a mask but carries around a chainsaw. He tore up a whole military base and left almost no survivors, with only limbs and headless dead bodies in his shadow. Let's just say you do not want to be on the other end of his chainsaw, or you might end up like all the other victims, so you better run fast. Coming in at number 4, we have one of the best backroom games on Roblox, Apeirophobia. To break it down for you, Apeiro means infinite and phobia being the fear of, and together we have the fear of the infinite. You are left feeling trapped in different rooms, and the suspense that you feel on thinking that you might be getting closer to finding a way out, but your dreams are only crushed when the next thing you find is scarier than what you just went through. I mean, just take a second to imagine walking towards a light, but it gets progressively further the more distance you cover. You're never going to reach your desired destination. There are a bunch of different areas giving you clues on how to progress on to the next one, but within each level you might be confronted with a dangerous monster. Some monsters have the ability to hear you but no ability to see where you're at, and while these clues can be very helpful if you use them correctly, you might still end up falling victim to your demise. The best part is, for those brain nerds out there, the puzzles can be really challenging. Teamwork plays a crucial role in discovering what the code is, or maybe what the clues might be indicating, and finding out where the exit is located. Bring some friends for the best chance of survival. Now, you won't believe me when I say this, but for the next game, let's take a step back from the jump scares and put our lives on the line, because the game we are introducing at number 3 is called 21. The game is fairly simple. You and your friend are tied in a chair on opposite sides of a table. The judge of this game will be us all, because if you lose, it becomes closer to that player. Now, if you end up losing the game, well, that's a different story. Your life is in your hands, and pray that luck is hopefully on your side. This is a game of blackjack, and your cards have to add up to 21, but you can change up the rules at any time. During the round, you will get cards that will allow you to change the number that you are trying to reach to favor your odds of winning. If you're lucky, put down a bet card to put more risk on the table and show that you really mean business. These trump cards can be a game changer, or a better word, a life changer, because if you use them correctly, they just might win you the round. You might have discovered that this game is inspired by Resident Evil 7's DLC, the face-off between Clancy and Hoffman, which becomes brutal quickly. The game is competitive and addicting because it requires strategy in order to win and a bit of gambling. It's hard not to give this game a spot in the top 3, as it continues to be one of the scariest games on the platform, and it's called Interliminality, a liminal space horror game that gets more difficult as it continues. Infinite lives with an infinite amount of possibilities. You play as a group of teenagers sneaking into a building and realizing things aren't quite as they should be. I know that many of you like exploring abandoned places, but what if something bad could happen to you one day? Would that stop you from doing what you loved? An elevator, a convenience store, you never know where you will end up next, but that is not what you should be concerned about. Because if you weren't made aware yet, you are not alone, and within each room lurks something more horrifying than the previous one. Now, I haven't asked you this question, but what are you scared of? I promise you that you will scream more times than you can count, as this game is more terrifying to play even with your friends. There's a chance you could get lost, and the next thing you know, your friend is no longer behind you. The atmosphere atmosphere, the vibe, and a story you will not be disappointed with. If you're up for the job, explore what lies ahead, or you could always read the notes. They can be helpful sometimes or could be tricking you in plain sight. Now with this next game for the #1 spot, I know you guys have all been waiting. You might think I'm biased and I completely understand, but I feel like this game is extremely underrated. If you're looking for a horror game to play, single player or multiplayer, and want to dive into the horror category of Roblox, this is a perfect place to start. Repleh County Archives 2. It's incredibly well made, the cutscenes are great, it has an amazing story, it's a very short psychological horror game without any jump scares but still has a spooky atmosphere to it. There's an interesting plot to the story with a very unexpected ending. A little bit about the game is you are a deputy working at the Repleh County Sheriff's Office and perform some routine traffic stops, but one man late at night seems very shady, but you end up letting him off with a warning. You go back to the station to type up your report only to soon get a call for a welfare check needed at the residence of the man you just pulled over. After breaching the home, what you discover at the house is far beyond what you were expecting, and it's up to you to uncover those clues. This game will start you on your journey of discovering more horror games just due to how intense it is. Now if you've made it this far, you have some of the best horror games to play on Roblox and a ton of memories to make with your friends, and if I didn't include your favorite horror game, comment what it is and why you think it should be included.